Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our first and what we hope is a long series of health and wellness seminars sponsored by the Fishtown District. I'm Marc, your host. And what we're hoping to do, I enjoy myself, is bring more resources to our stakeholders, our business owners, workers, residents, even those who travel in and out of our corridor, on how to live better, through a better lifestyle, through diet, through spirituality, through exercise. And it's a way not only to be healthier, but be more productive in the workplace. And this is what we want to offer is different services for our stakeholders that you can do individually. You can offer it to your workers as a way to not just do something together and bring people together, but also increase your productivity and increase everybody's well-being. So we're pleased to start today. Met these gentlemen several months ago at GFit Nutrition. Of course, I'm talking about Marc DeSalvo and Bryan Adamson. Good morning, gentlemen. Who are a part of GFit Nutrition, and they have a wonderful new program that they're running that I think could be a benefit to really everybody on not preachy diet type tendencies, but just how to challenge yourself to live better, eat better, and hopefully, be better. So, gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Marc. My name is Marc DeSalvo. I've been in fitness and nutrition industry for the last 15 years with a CrossFit gym and then a number of women's gyms. In going through that journey between my personal experiences and trying to coach people up to live a healthier life, I kind of struggled to connect with them. So we built a product that kind of put me in their pocket and kind of brought all this abstract information, the diet world, recipes, food, all the things that we thought someone needed to live a healthier life together. I take a lot of pride in not being a diet and showing people that diet is more than dieting, and kind of using people's natural motivation to, obviously we're from the gym world, so a lot of it is about losing weight and things like that. But really our mission is to take people's natural motivation to lose a little weight, whether it's for the short-term goal, the wedding, the vacation, just wanting to fit better in clothes or feel more confident, taking that motivation that normally gets people to act on diets and introducing them to health. So we try to take a 28-day weight loss challenge, and I almost hate using the word weight loss because I think it promotes the wrong things, but introduce them to all these concepts that are actually affecting our country from a health standpoint. All of the things that truly pretty much are putting everyone on medications. And I think people discount it because I don't think they realize the value of, first of all, how close they are to being able to live this lifestyle, because they come in with a lot of preconceived notions of diet is boring, diet is extreme, dieting is it's something I do just to lose weight. And what we want to show people is we want to take people out of the concepts of your grandmom tells you to eat vegetables or some expert tells you to get more sleep. And we actually want to connect you to that through an experience. So we take these features, these components of our program, meal plans, recipes that you follow, video coaching, accountability, but we do it in a way where it's no longer abstract. So when I was getting back to when I was working with members, I would give seminars, I would give them their macros, I would tell them what to eat. They couldn't bring it all together in a meaningful way. So what we try to do with this program is bring it together in a meaningful way where they stack small wins. It's almost more of a behavioral tool than a nutritional tool. And they stack these small wins together to where finally by day 14 or day 21, what they really feel is health. What they really feel is the things that is driving our mission, for whether it's education, and when we put information out to people, when we work with people, when we work with organizations, or even people that do this program, is to introduce them to the main concepts so it's no longer abstract. So what's plaguing this country? Insulin resistance. Most of this country is pre-diabetic. So we're trying to show them how they lose the bloating, how they lose their blood pressure gets lowered because they reduce all of this high insulin that's in their body that's really being used to control all the food that we're bringing in. So we have these elevated levels for decades that is really compromising our health in so many ways that I could go on and on about. And we would like to introduce people to, whether it's through our challenge or through just, supporting the organization, supporting the community with other seminars like this. We can dive deeper into these topics. But as an intro level, we're trying to introduce people to the power of just reducing their insulin and what that does for them, how that makes them feel, how it makes them look. We're trying to introduce them to the fact that most of our diet is loaded with all of these processed seed oils. And it's very confusing out there because there's a lot of marketing that plays on words that sound good, such as vegetables and plant-based. And I eat more plants than anyone. I eat more vegetables. What we try to introduce to people is how to introduce and eat these foods the right way, not their food derivatives that are used in marketing that is really killing us and causing heart disease. So we have a lot of fears and phobias about things that you don't realize that all of these seed oils are every food that you're eating, and they are getting oxidized and causing heart disease. So our diet removes that from it. And then on top of that, there's portion sizes. There's eating enough protein so we're thriving. So a lot of times you'll hear things about collagen or hair products or skin products. A lot of that has to do with just eating enough protein so that we're thriving. A lot of people dramatically undereat protein, especially women, and being real. I have women's gym, so it's been a case study for the last 15 years for me. So getting people to do these things without it being abstract and a lot of information, getting them to do it just by eating a meal is what we've tried to simplify this process down to. And as they do that, we also give them daily video coaching that ties this experience together. So our program specifically is a sugar detox. It's not something extreme. And we want people to get through that 28-day experience with that profound aha feeling and moment where they connect to food, where they realize these basic meals that look like anything else, but have been very well calculated, have made me sleep better, have made me have no cravings because my blood sugar is totally normal. I feel that now. I'm less bloated and my blood pressure is down because I don't have all this high insulin, which is messing up my hormones. I don't have high blood sugar anymore. We have people that wear constant glucose monitors that are pre-diabetic or diabetic, and we've watched their average glucose fall. This is literally stuff that saves lives, but people discount it because you just hear it and it's generic and it's abstract. So we try to bring the doing with the theory together in one experience, and that's why we believe the experience is profound. But no matter what people do, we want to introduce to the people these concepts because these basic little behaviors that everyone can do, they are practical and they are sustainable, can be done by everyone by simple little behavior changes. And I think people overlook it because it's boring and it's not sexy. People look for the magical supplement. People look for the magical pill. People look for the extreme approach. And that shortcut is sending us looking for love in all the wrong places.
Hey-o. Well, that's great now. So, as you know, I'm a physical specimen. So who
Absolutely.
needs help with our diet? But in all
That's
seriousness,
killing me right now, Mark.
but I'm actually the right guy to talk to because I try to exercise as much as I can, but my diet, as I told you, is not good. And just easier in some ways to grab the unhealthy quick things to eat. They certainly in some cases taste better. So let's introduce kind of the challenge that GFit came up with. And we're happy to share the screen if you want to go through anything to kind of show how even someone like me that it's not hard and not intimidating to start. Because I think that's the big thing. I'm sure people like me, like I'm not, it just seems too daunting. Goal is great. I want to end up like that.
Yep.
Like Randy does. And she preaches each and every day of how she's perfect. And I think that's wrong for our listeners to know. But, right, Randy? Maybe you can
Sorry,
help.
I was on mute.
Oh, darn it. But anyway.
But I am very interested in these little things that we can do to be healthier because I try and eat healthy and sometimes you fall off the wagon.
Everyone likes to drink now and then, right?
We can have a good time. No, but there's so many parts to it, right? There really is so many parts.
There is. And I fully understand why people can't put it together, right? Like if, I've dedicated the last 20 years of reading books, experimenting, working with thousands of clients. And to be honest with you, being motivated because my dad had a heart attack at my age. My grandfather had a heart attack at my age. My other grandfather had a heart attack. My wife's father died of heart disease. My dad died of heart disease. There's a lot of mental illness in my family. My son had a seizure disorder when he was younger that required us to do things with his diet. So I've worked with thousands of members in the gym that I'm trying to get them answers and I'm scared to death and need to figure it out. So like, if you don't have that motivation, you're not doing that and putting that time, like these business owners that, you know, we are speaking to, even they are experts in what they do and put in time and refine their process. But it is abstract. And from an outsider, it's hard to know. So that's really what we've tried to do with this challenge, is take all of that, take everything I know and create a behavioral tool that is like I'm their coach. And dude, people pay thousands to work with a one-on-one coach. And I feel like our product is better in the sense that it's there with you. It's literally doing all the conversations. So we can get into the details of it. But I
That'd
think
be great. That'd be great. Because
I think
it's one of the questions, Mark, I had though, is I kind of mentioned it earlier. Why is this different? Like there's all these different types of diets that people do. How is this different, and how is this really more sustainable?
Yeah, I think it's the deep thing that you take away from the experience that makes a difference. So the integrity and the experience. And what I mean by that is, normally when people do something, it's extreme, it's boring, it works because it's simple. They'll give you something simple like eat under this, or take this powder and just do that, or do this. I've heard some really weird things over the years. People do really extreme things and they'll lose some weight, but what they don't realize is how they're compromising themselves for the long run. So the thing that's hard for us is to celebrate like preventative medicine in the sense of with food, you know, getting ahead of this. So it doesn't, not being reactive, being, you know, proactive in this. But those aren't sexy concepts. So I think the difference is we make it simple, we make it gamified, we make it a behavioral tool so that besides going through the fact that you're going through a sugar detox, by the time you get that on that experience, you connect with it way more profoundly through all these little parts working together succinctly at the right time.
And then
I'm sorry.
I've been a user for 4 years now, and I've lost 75 pounds doing it. What I think is completely different, and I tell Mark all the time, that it's not just a weight loss program, not just a diet. It is a complete self-transformation, because not only when you go through the days, you discipline yourself to make the meal, you eat the meal, you check them off, and it's 28 days. But now it is so ingrained in me that every Sunday I'm meal prepping the same meal that Mark has taught me how to make. It is also a master course in learning how to eat healthy. So there'll be some times where I'll go and do a challenge, I'll rewatch the videos. And you know how like when you're watching a video or you read a book, you actually read it in a different format than, because you're a different person than what you were back then. So I'll watch the videos, I'll actually learn something else new as well. So it transformed my life, and I can share a little bit more from a company viewpoint. I'll get into that later, but I think someone had a question, so we'll get to that first.
So I was just curious, compared to some of the other, we'll call them bad diets, you know, like the ketos and the intermittent fasting and, you know, whatever else comes down the pike, how does yours compare to those in terms of, you know, they're really not sustainable. You know, those diets, you know, in general are not sustainable. They don't really teach people a way of life. They teach you how to diet.
Yes.
You know, and in some cases they're so high in, you know, fats and proteins that they're really not healthy for you on some other level. Mediterranean diet, whatever, you know, the thing to come down the pike is. How is yours different?
I think it's more of not even necessarily prescribing. Obviously, we have an approach that we take, but because you have to take some approach when you're giving somebody a specific plan. But I think what we're truly trying to do is be like, I know it's a little cliche to say at this point, but principles first and introducing the concepts. And then going on in life, you can go make that look however you want. You can rely on our recipes if you want. You can follow it exactly if you want. You know, you can find your own truth with it. But I think one thing that cannot be argued is the principles and the concepts that we cover. And that does look different for people in different ways as they go deeper down the rabbit hole. But this is meant to be that one-on-one, 101 intro master's course, ground level foundation of principles, not being tied to any dogma. I have people that live keto, they love it. I have people that are pescatarian, love it. Both can be extremely healthy. And I think through this course, we show you how, like, what is the backbone that connects health from all these conflicting diets? And all, if they work, there's a reason. People also bastardize those programs completely. But if they work, there's a reason for it. And then what's sustainable and what is doable is different for everyone. You know, what's sustainable for a bachelor is totally different than what's sustainable for a mom who has 2 kids. So those are 2 different things, but these principles connect all these experiences. So then I think our goal isn't to make somebody perfect or follow this diet forever. Our goal is to bring them to center. It's to improve their habits by 20, 30, 50%. They have that awareness and that understanding that they make better decisions a little bit each day, so that by the time they're 40, 50, or 60, they reduce their risks. And that could be the difference between, you know, I don't know, business principles. I'm a business guy, so I read a lot of business books. The Slight Edge, all these different books that people have read, the compound effect of behaviors over and over again, routine, consistency. You know, anyone that's worked hard on their business knows these things. So those little differences over a long time, they don't look different here. But when you're here, one person's on medication and the other person's totally healthy with reduced risk factors. So I think we don't try to adhere to one diet or one approach. And I'm not ever even going to tell you that my approach is the only way. That is not it at all. We're trying to show people approach. It's practical and kind of handles the 80-20 of it.
Why don't we deep dive in? Because I think that
Yeah.
we can lead to some questions of how it can benefit really businesses to bring their staff together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll share my story and then I'll have Mark go into what his idea is.
Sure.
So as I said, I was a little bit heavier and I was just an average performer. I was a banker, a private banker at Wells Fargo, and I was just an average performer. Working with Mark and then losing weight, and that kept on compounding. And then I started getting more confidence. And then that actually helped me get more confidence in the workforce and helping me talk to people, because I was more confident in my looks and be able to help someone and create a plan for them. So as it kept on going, I became a top 1% performer at JP Morgan Chase. I was getting invited to sales events. So from a company standpoint, we feel if someone brings this program on and helps members lose weight, they will become more efficient, more productive at their job. And then Mark's going to dive into, from a health cost standpoint, what we think is healthy, because if someone is in that pre-diabetic stage and they do a program and they get off of that, the medical cost that happens is pretty extreme from a company standpoint. So I'll let Mark dive into that.
Yeah, so the product itself, if someone comes in, they're doing a 28-day challenge. That sounds really cliche and gimmicky, but it's meant to be long enough to put it together. What they would do is they would do all the typical things. They would enter their age, height, weight, activity, things like that, that allows us to get them into an accurate calorie range. It is a weight loss challenge because that is most time the driver for get people to do action, as I said earlier. But really it is, as Bryan just alluded to, a health challenge. So nothing that we're doing is very extreme. We do consider it a sugar detox. We do introduce people to habits and behaviors. So those are some of the things that people have to work through that first week, but then it becomes very easy once you get through that. As you sign up for your challenge, you would pick a start date. An organization can do it together, or the employee can do it on their own. When they go to do it, we give them a checklist. We give them a success tips video. We tell them everything they need to prepare for. Build your meal plan so you can lay out your week. Go shopping, do these things. Enter in your first weight and your waist measurement. We do waist measurement because it's very closely tied to insulin resistance and diabetes. We're very health oriented with all this. Once they get to day one, it would look like this. So that is on Bryan's phone. It's a day one of your challenge. There's video coaching and there's accountability for your meals. As you watch those videos, I'll show you my phone now, and you check off those meals, your day would start to look like this. So we gamify it. So we consider it a behavioral tool as much as it is a dietary tool, because we're just trying to get people small victories, like put one foot in front of the other, check the meal off. So you're not tracking calories and macros. It's not complex. You just need to make the recipe. If you make the recipe, it fits your numbers. It's detoxing you off sugar. It's removing all these horrible foods from your life. But the part that is beneficial is when you're in there, this is what a recipe looks like. You now can pick what you want to eat, your philosophy. And we try to make these meals like the standard American diet meals. We try to mix in some stuff with more flavors and variety, but these are things that, you know, Some are real practical. Some are more complex. Some are more expensive. My mom's texting me. So
Tell her we said hi.
I will. She's doing great,
I
by the
love
way.
that.
My mom's doing great. So there's these meals that people build. And then when you click into one, I'll just show you a little bit. It's literally a cookbook. But the difference is it's not a generic recipe. When you add up the total of your day, it's fitting the calorie and portion sizes that you need. Everyone gets a custom snack. We tell them exactly how to cook this. You build meal plans. So your meal plan would look like this. There's Monday. That's my day that I built. That's for me. So you are now building days that are your taste, your conveniences that you believe you can execute. The challenge with our program is we're introducing people to meal prepping a little bit, making their food at home. They are going through a sugar detox in week 1. That's the challenge. When they get through that first week, we tell people keep it as simple as possible, get through that first week, and then you are going to springboard into what we believe is a life-changing experience. So, there's that mental overload anytime something is new. People do go through that a little bit. It's different for everyone. Some people are used to cooking meals, used to whatever. It's no problem at all. If people eat healthier, it's not really that much of a detox. If someone's coming from a more extreme place, never cooks for themselves, never made a meal, it might be a little more overwhelming. But what it's doing is it's making people, it's kind of getting them to cross the chasm, so to speak, by learning by doing. And then we do that for 28 days.
No, that's great. I wanted to, and so here's a question, and Rand, I'm not picking on you. This is actually a good question. Randy and her husband do Blue Apron every night.
Yeah.
How would that fit in to this program? Because it seems like what she does is fairly health. I always hear there's green in there and all stuff I never eat. So, and how does that fit into this program?
So if someone was doing this, they would need to make the meal from the most basic unit, which is just the ingredients. And they would need to make it in those proportions. And we tell everyone exactly what to do. So you couldn't necessarily take a Blue Apron and go do this just because Blue Apron is giving you their set meals, which have totally different macros and calories and carbs. There's these two worlds that come together. One of them is macros, which is just protein, carbs, fat, and calories. And then there's just eating foods that aren't processed. And we try to bring those two worlds together so we have an exact game plan for someone. They're not like winging it. It's not open-ended. It's not I eat this much one day and eat this much the other day. They're following an exact game plan without realizing it just by cooking the recipes. But in doing so, they're removing all that processed food and all that other stuff that I've talked about. They're kind of reducing that down. So they do have to follow the meals we do. But the good part about it is real food that you just buy in a store. It's not depending on some system or something like that. And in many ways, to be honest with you, it's kind of like a Blue Apron in the fact that we're giving you the instructions. Here, go do this. You just have to go buy the ingredients that we tell you.
And I want to add to that, not to sound corny at all, but like when you go to mom's house or grandmom's house and they're making food for you, you can feel the love that they put into the food. So when you're actually taking the time on Sunday to make the food, it is a process of loving yourself, and you feel better knowing that you're eating super healthy. You're making meals that are going to fuel you for the rest of the week. So not to sound corny and dismiss Blue Apron, because it all has its purpose. There's busy people out there, people that don't have time to do anything, and they might need that. We're not looking for those people. We're looking for people that want to profoundly change their lives. So.
And it's funny, you've mentioned a couple times, guys, about you're not necessarily counting calories or things like that. Why was that so important into your plan or to your challenge?
A couple of reasons. One, it's a bit arduous of a task. Like, that's why when people go on diets, and like if I was a coach and I gave someone their macros, like, hey, eat this many calories and eat this many carbs, protein, and fat. Even the people that know how to do it pretty much just keep it to boring recipes because they don't want to account for all those little things that go into a recipe that actually make it taste good. So that's why when people go on diets, they tend to just eat chicken and broccoli, or, you know what I mean? They reduce it down to the simplest unit because in that mental overload, they just try and fit that program. And then the other part is I've been working with people for a long time and people don't realize what they're doing. So they don't have the awareness. Either they don't measure right, they don't count for those few things they grab in a day, which is like their kids' food, or when everyone brings something to work at the office, or they forget that they had, even when they do food recalls and experiments, they talk about the inaccuracy when the job is for the person who's participating in the experiment to track. So people do a very poor job of having that awareness. Understand, dude, there's so many things. Like, there's things in food that people just don't realize what they're doing. I have people tell me like, oh, I don't ever consume sugar. I was at the Babson Small Business. Yes, it's in everything. And I was at the Babson Small Entrepreneur Program with community college a couple of years back. I participated in that, and I was talking to someone, and we were doing a Starbucks run for a break. And they're like, I don't ever have sugar. And I'm like, you don't have ever sugar? And they're like, no, not at all. I'm like, okay. So then when I went to go to Starbucks, I was like, what do you want? And she's like, I want the caramel macchiato. And I'm like, you don't even realize that thing has like 100 grams of sugar or 80 grams of sugar. Like, people don't even know what's in food. So whether it's awareness or how boring it has to be, it's a thing that gets in the way of people taking action. So we just want people to take action day in and day out, and that's what the program's meant to do.
Is there a regular process of weighing yourself? Like,
so
we do. Tell us what the challenge is.
Yeah, so the challenge, it's obviously a weight loss challenge, but it's more of celebrating the execution of what you're doing. So that's why we gamify the meals you hit, the perfect streaks. We don't try to celebrate weight loss. We have people that, like I said, they lose a pound. We have people that lose 30 pounds in the 28 days. And it really meets you where you are. Like, we're not going to compromise health to get you to lose more weight. So, if you're someone that only needs to technically lose a few pounds, the challenge is going to meet you there, because we're not going to put you in some extreme state. So people will lose if someone's very overweight and have a lot of bad weight on them. And when I talk about weight, I'm talking about health. I'm talking about the type of weight. Everyone's built differently. We all have different sizes, shapes. People are obviously, I got these little wrists, like, where my body's like all strong and huge. So we're all built differently, but there is such thing as unhealthy weight. There is a thing that where the weight is covering our organs. It's promoting insulin resistance, and that's happening for a reason. So that's what we're trying to work on, and that will meet people in different places. So we do a weekly check-in, and the two things we track are weight, and we track waste, because the weight to height ratio is tightly tied to your health, your health factors, your risk factors. You ideally want to get your under 0.5 for your waist to height ratio. So that's what we're trying to progress people towards, is to bring them down towards that. So we do weekly, but we don't do daily, because daily is neurotic. And even when I tell people to only do it weekly, they do it daily. And that's one of the frustrations in working with people, is because people get neurotic. They're like, I'm up 0.2 pounds today. I'm like, dude, you're probably leaned on a scale differently today than yesterday.
So after the 28 days, obviously, I mean, they've learned something, but, they're making these meals that you not prepared for them, but that, you laid out for them. How do they take what they've learned and introduce that into everyday life?
So when someone normally does buy the challenge from us, we actually give them 4 months access. So you could technically do the challenge a bunch of times, or you can mess up and restart over. Sometimes people don't know what's involved, so they need to start it over. So we give that wiggle room for people to kind of, do it as much as they want, get as many results as they can. But once that ends, they can buy access, and it's only $95 for the year. So they can maintain access to these recipes and these meal plans, or to do this challenge over again. And I can't emphasize enough that my goal with this isn't to make someone dependent on me or our plan. It's to be, and we price it that way, it's to be a complement to a healthy lifestyle where you can use these recipes. And that's how most people end up using it. They use the recipes because they know in their mind, if I make this recipe, there's not seed oils in it. I'm getting enough protein. There's not high sugar. It's not that inflammatory to my diet. Most of our things remove a lot of the proteins that are tough to digest or that disrupt the gut. They know all those things just by eating the meal. So normally that's how people will continue to use it. They will use it just to complement their lifestyle. And then when they want to dial in, or they want to go 100%, they'll do a challenge again. And maybe they do that 2 or 3 times throughout the course of a year.
And to add to that, if companies decide they want to participate and do the challenge for their organization, we have a different pricing model, and it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, they can unlock it for the year for them just by participating.
Yeah. And they get a full year access, so no 4 months or anything like that.
Yeah, we simplify it for organizations.
Nice.
One of the things, guys, I think is while we wanted to present it to our folks, is how you guys bring the challenge for businesses to purchase for their for executive and staffs to do this together. Tell a little bit about how you work that, maybe some price points, and what benefits people can see.
Yeah, so we do offer two different approaches, even though we do kind of believe in one versus the other more, just because of what do they call it? Sunk costs, accountability, having something vested in the process. So we do sell to organizations directly where they buy it for their entire staff to have access to this program. We charge them significantly less because we realize they're buying it for everyone. They have access for the year. If their employees want to buy it on their own, then we normally set them up with an account where they can go through a link. They can get an extreme discount for buying it through the organization. And then that would be like more the normal process where they're buying it and the employees are buying their own. What we have found in working with organizations is that when people buy the product on their own, they actually do better, because those are the people that are looking for this message. They're looking for this solution. They're willing to put their money out to do it. We think our price point is ridiculous for what someone is getting. They're literally getting a private coach. When you compare this to, and it's better than a coach, it's better than me, because I can't be on someone's phone every day. I can't give this exact message when I work with someone one-on-one. I can't give you this many recipes, which we can do in this program. So it's better than me as a coach. That's why we created it. But when someone's vested, they're significantly more accountable. They watch all the videos. They participate in all the things to prepare for it. They understand what they're getting involved in. So there's those two different avenues, and we work with organizations both ways. It just depends on what they want to do. Discount for buying in mass, or offer to them at a discount. And then, we can support organizations in different ways, especially if they get a lot of people on board.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the, I know I would probably be one of these people. Like, do you get a lot of people every day? Can I eat this? Can I eat that? And
you do, but more in the form of like, we get people that are like asking substitutions.
Yeah.
And I think the program literally says like, yo, you hired me for a reason. Like, if you go out and get a coach, the coach is there to get you to follow the plan. A lot of times with my son plays basketball. I hire coaches for him. I pay a ridiculous amount of money sometimes for someone to work with him one-on-one. When I go to those practices, they're not getting him to do anything, except they're getting him to do those basics over and over again. And that's what has a profound effect. And that's what we see we're trying to do. So if someone comes to us looking for this solution, looking to get healthier, we've taken everything that we know and put it into this program. We really want you to just follow the plan and then see where that leaves you off. Now, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, people have this profound experience and write us these emails that like was life-changing for them. Even though it was simple, it was profound. And then there are those people that come from different backgrounds, extreme places. Maybe they've been under eating for decades. Maybe they've been, maybe they have a very specific condition. Those small percentages do happen. And what the good part about the challenge is, like I said, it's a controlled experiment. So even if you then want to go out and hire a coach to support you, we know exactly where you've come from. We know exactly what you've done and how you responded.
Great. So the most important question is, how can people find you?
Yeah, so they can either email Bryan to reach out to learn more, to get a demonstration of the product itself, to talk to them how we can work with their organization. So it's just Bryan, Bryan, at gfitnutrition.com. He is our liaison to different organizations that we work with, or they can go to gfitnutrition.com. We've spent so much of our time in product development. Like I said, we've been developing the product over the last 8 years with our gyms. So our website is still a little basic. We're actually in the process of updating all that, but they can get basic information. They can see the type of meals we offer. They can see a video, just high level what the product is. But email Bryan at gfitnutrition.com, Marc at gfitnutrition.com, or go to the website.
Also, we have an amazing Instagram channel where this guy puts up daily videos that people should pay for, in my opinion. But it's GFit _nutrition. And it's an amazing resource. You'll see some before and afters. You'll see some testimonials. And then you got educational videos from Marc every day, almost every day. So,
well, it's great. We can't wait to find more about it. We hope our businesses will want to talk to you and really kind of deep dive into, let's make ourselves feel, live better, and more importantly, let's be even more productive than we already are now. We're so thrilled to have you guys and be part of our community. Again, Marc, Bryan, thank you so much. Randy, I'll leave this to you since you really are the few people that don't need this. Are there any other questions that you have since you're perfect?
No, I don't think so, but I appreciated the information. I'm gonna look it up on the website.
And in all seriousness, that's why I immediately, when I thought of meals, I thought of her because, you know, it seems like it really is in a way changing a lifestyle and hopefully making a more repetitive way of doing that. How do you? One last question before I let you go. At the end of the challenge, what's your goal for someone like me or Randy or anybody who takes it? What do you hope to see when we finish that first time?
Introduce you to health, introduce you to the power of food, and show you how close it is to you. I think people think it's far away or they're not that person. We all have a self-image. We all have identities and things that we attach our identity to. And the thing that I try to introduce, coming from a background and family where I'm at, I just want people to understand that if they knew how simple it actually could be, how much of a lever it is in their life. So that 28 days is meant to cross a pretty big chasm quickly. And we do a lot of gimmicky cliche things to get people to do it because that's what people respond to. Challenges, short-term things. It's 28 days because you believe you can accomplish something for 28 days. You may not believe you can do this for the rest of your life, but when you get done, you will see that you can. And I think that's what we want the 28 days to do. We want to rely on all people's natural motivations for the typical things and introduce them to something that lasts much longer and is much more profound than that.
Randy, I will do it if you will cook it for me, said the Bachelor.
You notice I
Bryan,
didn't
thank
offer
you
because
so-
then I would have to bring it down to you too.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. We look forward to engaging you in our community, with our business community, and working to live better. So thanks so much. One last plug. Where can we find GFit?
GFitnutrition.com, or you can go to GFit_nutrition on Instagram.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Appreciate it.